First of all, I have to say it's not a theory. Simple as that. I don't do conspiracy theories. The whole Hitler died in the bunker, killed himself has become so accepted. When you even vaguely try and challenge it, it's like you're challenging the existence of God to a Catholic priest. Prove me wrong. Hi, yeah, I'm Gerrard Williams, author with Simon Dunson of a book called Grey Wolf, The Escape of Adolf Hitler. I've been a television journalist with some excursions into print for the last 40 years. He shoots himself in the head, probably at the same time as crunching a cyanide pill. Eva Braun takes a cyanide pill on a sofa in their personal quarters. And the bodies are then found by one of his valets, and the bodies are then taken upstairs, covered in petrol. The petrol is set fire to, and the body's burnt to ashes. Yeah, well, that doesn't work because you need to get a body to something like 3000 C in a crematorium before it goes to ashes. When the Russians arrive, they find no bodies like this. They do a bit later, funnily enough, but they don't find any bodies at the time. And the BBC reporter Thomas Cadet, who's there, says the Russians have been given no bodies that they believe to be that of Adolf Hitler. There is no mention of Eva Braun at all. And yet over there are Joseph and Magda Goebbels, and they've been covered with petrol, and they've been set alight, and you can still tell it's Joey the Crip, as they used to call him, and Magda. We have the reports from Captain Peter Baumgart. Baumgart's arrested, but as part of his defense, he explains his war history and everything else, and at the end of the war, he flew Hitler and Eva and a number of other people to Tonder in Denmark. He sees them board another plane and fly them off to Reus, just outside Barcelona. General Franco is very tight with Hitler, and so he supplies an aircraft of the Spanish Air Force, which flies them to Fuerteventura, to Villa Winter, and from Villa Winter they board a convoy of 3 submarines. When they get to the coast, they stay overnight at a ranch called Moramar, and then on Moramar, and it's still there, at the Estancia, is an airfield, and they fly from that airfield to a place just outside San Carlos de Bariloche, which is owned by the Nazi ambassador to Chile. The birth of the Nazi Party happens in Argentina. There's a couple called Ida Eichhorn and her husband who run a hotel called Hotel Eden. Now, this is meant to be as luxurious as the Titanic was. The Eichhorns funded Hitler in the 20s from the takings of this hotel and pumped money into the Nazi Party. And if it hadn't been for the Eichhorns, the Nazi Party could never have happened. So the roots of Nazism are as deep in Argentina as they ever were in Nazi Germany. Places like San Carlos de Bariloche, I mean, I've woken up there, looked out of the window and thought I was in Bavaria. The extent, the level of German penetration, Nazi penetration into Argentina is incredible, just incredible. And if they hadn't been funded by the Eichhorns, they may never have come to power. There are a number of distinctly propagandist lies about Adolf Hitler. The Parkinson side of things, that he was really unwell, is based on one shot, which lasts for about 4 seconds at Berchtesgaden, of him with his right hand behind his back, and the right hand's doing that. It's not an incipient sign of Parkinson's. If you look at the pictures shot on March the 20th, 1945, of a man allegedly Adolf Hitler handing out medals to the Hitler Youth, it's not Hitler. We've had him facially electronically tested. The man is not Hitler. The last pictures you see of Hitler, he's quite fit. When the double comes in, he's nowhere near as fit. And people notice a marked deterioration in Adolf Hitler in the last couple of days in the bunker, and they're told it is Hitler. You remember, these are oath-sworn Nazis. An SS Gruppenführer tells you something is the way it is the way it is. You do not dream of questioning it, or you will be shot. Martin Bormann is the man behind all this. Bormann approaches Alan Dulles, who's head of the security intelligence operation OSS in Switzerland. And he says, look, we've lost. He says, it's now only a question of time, and we need to come to an agreement where we give you something and in return you give us our freedom. And we take quite a bit with us. And yet, for everybody, Martin Bormann is dead outside the post office in Berlin in 1945. He's not. It's interesting enough that Martin Bormann at Nuremberg is charged with crimes against humanity. Adolf Hitler never is. They can't find Bormann's body. They've got no proof that Hitler's body's there. But Hitler's never been charged with a single crime. Why? If we'd had a body, yeah, okay, he's dead, end of story. And you got Eisenhower, Zhukov, Stalin all saying, we have no proof that this man is dead. But the International War Crimes Commission at Nuremberg ignores that. I don't like it because I'm uncomfortable about it with the idea of the deep state, you know? But there are two Americas. There is the military-industrial complex, and up until Mr. Trump, there was the decent side of America. And Alan Dulles and John J. McCloy were part very much of that military-industrial complex. Can you imagine what a lot of returning veterans would have done if they'd found out that the American shadow government had done a deal? You might think this is all just completely crazy, right? But I've spoken to eyewitnesses. I've walked on the Estancia. At one stage, an Argentine crew was filming there because they'd heard this story as well. And the woman said, what are you filming that house for? And they said, well, isn't that the one that Hitler stayed in after the war? She went, no, it's that one over there. Jaw drop. And you get stories like this all the time. Sometimes they're secondhand, sometimes they're third-hand. But I've interviewed, I suppose now, about 10 people who met him personally in Argentina, post-war. I've had 2 eyewitnesses threatened with death threats in Argentina. One who was threatened with having their house burnt down and their children killed. And then another lady who said she had pictures and a signed copy of Mein Kampf dated 1958. She shut up on us completely because she got a telephone calling saying the Gestapo is still active, and if you continue talking to these people, you will die. Unless the story was true or had any basis in fact, why would you threaten people with death? You have to understand the depth of Nazi penetration into Argentina. These are all sworn Nazis, and they swore to protect the life of Adolf Hitler, and they continued to do so. You know, he didn't wander around the streets going, hello, see the moustache? You know, none of that happened. He's in protected compounds. He's in protected compounds surrounded by former SS soldiers. He's got a complete link into Bormann and Bormann then into Peron. There is a mountain division of Argentine soldiers being trained by the Nazis in San Carlos de Bariloche, providing immediate rapid reaction forces to anything there. They had billions, they had country buying money. He had personally a great deal of money, but the Nazi organization had country buying amounts of money, and they did, they bought Argentina. I think what Hitler hoped for most was the development of the wonder weapons that he'd been looking to develop at the end of World War II. So the nuclear ambitions went astray. Hitler was getting more and more ill. Eva left him in the middle of the 50s. He has a series of heart attacks, and then on February the 13th of 1962, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, attended by his personal physician, Dr. Otto Lehmann, he dies. Tormented, demented, and betrayed. And that's a great way for him to go. First of all, I have to say it's not a theory. Simple as that. I don't do conspiracy theories. I've been called everything from a conspiracy theorist to a nutter. The whole Hitler died in the bunker, killed himself, Eva Braun killed herself as well, has become so accepted. When you even vaguely try and challenge it, it's like you're challenging the existence of God to a Catholic priest. Historians like to follow other historians and accept their work because it's been peer-reviewed. I like to follow journalists who are actually on the ground doing it at the time. Prove me wrong. Prove us wrong. Prove the research wrong. And then, you know, maybe we could have a conversation over a beer about it. But in the meantime, I know what I know. I think I know what happened to Adolf Hitler, but whether we'll ever have any hard, conclusive smoking gun evidence is something I don't know. I think that it was so important for both the Nazis and the Americans not for there to be any evidence of Hitler's body, that the body would have probably been cremated and then the ashes scattered somewhere in the Andes. So you'd never find any evidence. Governments are still very secretive about this story. They refuse to release files. The truth is out there, to quote the X-Files. Whether or not we'll ever get at it is something I don't know. Do the research. Read the book. Read the other books on the subject as well, and there are other books on the subject. And once you've done all that research, which will take you some years because it does, then make your own mind up about it. But for me, I cannot just blindly follow a story which I know not to be true.
So much information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. I'm sorry.
No.
You know, there'd be a lot less if this was bollocks.